So what happens when we put modes together?
Well, behind it all is, of course, the notion of communication. I want to communicate something to you. I have a meaning which I want you to get in some way. I have the sense that one mode alone won't do it. So I put modes together because I have a sense that this mode will allow me to do this kind of thing best, and this mode will allow me to do this other thing best. So for instance, on this website that we have here, I can click on a particular thing, and what I have is something which is in time. There's a mode of moving image or little video, which is moving image and its speech together. These things are in time. But at the same time, I have things which are not in time, bits of writing. So I have things which are not in time and things which are temporally instantiated. I have an image, a still image, which is spatial. So because I want to say things which are about things which are in time, they move, things which are not in time, they're stationary, things which are spatially kind of displayed like images, I want to put all these together because of the meaning that I want to make. So I have a sense of what these things do, I have a sense of what I want to mean, and so I have a kind of an interest to make a composition in which certain kinds of things come together in a particular way that best exemplifies or communicates what I want to mean.
If we're talking about linguistics, in linguistics they talk about words and clauses and sentences, but what are the basic categories if we're talking a multimodality?
Well, some of the, we don't, of course, if you're in multimodality, you can still look at words and clauses and sentences and paragraphs, but you might want to have much more general terms which will apply to image as much as they do to writing, to gesture as much as it does to speech. And some of the basic categories that we will talk about, and we can do that now, are mode, of course. Think about the notion, instead of having a term such as language, have a more general term such as semiotic resources. And it's a general way, again, of saying what does the culture make available for us to make our meanings with. Semiotic is about meaning, resources for making meaning. And then what can these things do, which we talk about as affordance. And of course, where in linguistics maybe the sentence is the basic unit, in multimodality, in a semiotic kind of approach, we might talk about sign.
Okay, so to explain me, what exactly then is mode?
Mode is a term that allows us to get away from using language for everything. Whereas you might say there's visual language and there's gestural language and there's language of flowers, we now say there are different modes, and modes are resources whereby we can make meaning material. I want to mean something, I want to communicate something. How do I make my meaning evident, material, so others can kind of take it in, see it, hear it, maybe even touch it? And modes are these things which are socially produced, and they become cultural resources for making meaning. They're regular because the community uses these resources over long periods of time in similar kinds of circumstances. So there's a regularity that applies to them. They are material. They have sound, or they have image like that, or they're tactile, or they even smell, I suppose. And so modes are these things which a culture has as means of making meaning. And it allows us to get away from making language too general and maybe therefore too vague a term to be useful. Is to say, is image more important than writing, or is writing more important, or do they do the same job, or do they do different kinds of jobs? So that's how I would begin to make my inroads into understanding how this website functions.
Okay.